Welcome to Marshallpreneur TV, and we have our many time visiting guest now. We have Geoff Thompson, and Geoff is BAFTA award-winning writer. He's written loads of books, award-winning films, screenplays, that kind of thing. Geoff, how are you doing?
Very good. Thanks for inviting me again.
That's right, Geoff. Thanks for coming on. And I just thought, because of your background in creating books, writing, the successes you've had in those kinds of fields, and also sort of you've created your own DVDs and products. We got chatting, didn't we, a little while back, and you said that you'd like to, share a little bit of knowledge on how you sort of come up with your product creations, ideas, that kind of thing, and just chat with our viewers about product creation. That was the theme of today.
Yeah.
Sort of stepping back a little bit, really, Geoff. What sort of was the first point where you decided, I wanted to put something out there?
I guess the initiating impulse, which is the most important thing, is why we do products. Mm-hmm. And when I was suffering with depression and struggling with fear, I went and hunted down lots of books and was very excited because I thought these books were going to give me some balm and help me to overcome my fears and get me out of my depression. And every time I picked up a book, it didn't say in the book what it said on the cover. So it promised me a lot, but didn't deliver. And I always ended up coming away very disappointed because I wanted somebody to say, this is how you're feeling, and it's uncomfortable, and this is what you can do. And I remember distinctly thinking, and this is really important because I think it's the most important thing in all product creation. I remember thinking, when I learn what it is I need to learn, I'm going to write it down and I'm going to tell everybody. I'm going to pass it on to everybody. So that was kind of a happy accident, but I actually triggered on the most important thing about business, which is to serve people. So there was just a sense that I want to tell people about this. I found an essence and I found a truth, and I want to tell them about it. So my initiating impulse was never about making money. It was never about making a living. It was never about anything like that. It was just about the fact that I was sick of people not delivering on the truth because they were afraid to tell the truth, or they perhaps hadn't found the truth, or the truth was unpalatable, or the truth was often just too simple. And they're thinking, well, I can't really, people aren't going to believe this. For whatever reason, people weren't telling. I wouldn't say they were telling lies, but they weren't telling the truth.
Yeah.
So my initiating impulse, which I go back to every time I produce a new product, I think, why am I doing this? I don't mind making money, the same as everybody else. I enjoy making money. It's one of the shapes we make. And it enables us to build an infrastructure, and it enables us to put our work into 21 languages. It enables us to put out 80 products and put them all around the world. So money's important, but it's not my initiating impulse. My initiating impulse is the need to say to people, I've found some essence and I want to share it with you. Because if you're like me, you'd probably be waking up at 4 a.m, depressed and wondering, what's the point of it all, and it's going to be a long day. Or you might just be someone out there going, I want to make more money. I want to make more money, and I'm not making enough money. Why am I not making enough money? Even that is worth coming back to and saying, okay, perhaps the reason you're not making more money, or that you're not enjoying the money you're making, is because the initiating impulse is too small. If we want to really make a lot of money, we need to find a way to serve millions of people, and then the money really just facilitates your ability to serve people. Right. I can't serve 21 languages, 60 countries through the websites. Without interacting with the money shape. It's really important to understand that the money shape at this moment in our evolution is important, and we need to be good at handling that. We need to be a good caretaker with it. So it's always coming back to thinking, why am I doing this? If we're just thinking about the money, I think we tend to think intellectually. Mm-hmm. And when we think intellectually, most people think very small. If we're thinking about, say, like Buckminster Fuller, who says, I want to serve millions of people, we automatically throw our hooks out into this conscious net wider and deeper to get big fish. We want big fish. If we want to serve millions of people, we're not going to do that with a fishing rod and a tiny boat. We're going to need a trawler, we're going to need nets, we're going to need crew, we're going to need deep water, we're going to need courage, we're going to need to be vulnerable, we're going to need to go right out there. That's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in serving millions of people. A smaller part of me, the fearful part, is the one that says, you've got to make the mortgage, you've got to make some money, you've got to make some bling, got to be seen to be successful. That's the voice I don't listen to. Because I just think to myself, if I'm serving millions of people, I'll be the person that has to process the energy that serves millions of people. So in order to serve millions of people, of course, that's going to serve me. It's going to serve me as a company. It's going to serve me as a person, because everything that I create has to be processed through me. So if I serve millions of people, the energy and the information that I use to serve those people has to be processed for me. So what I give out, I actually have, I retain, I keep. So I think the initiating thing is, what's the purpose of this? You need a big purpose.
Right. I mean, I think that sort of reflects there as well, doesn't it? That product creation can free you up for the sort of pounds per hours.
Yeah.
That's a big thing, isn't it? But I think some people miss the concept of that. I mean, I don't know your thoughts on that, because like you're saying there, you can reach more people.
Well, it's a residual then, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you've got, like I wrote Watch about 20 years ago, that still sells several hundred copies every single month. I've got 40 books that just keep selling. So there's two things that happen. I create a book and it's working for me. It's like a worker. It goes out into the world, and if it's got something good to say, it works for me 24 hours a day. So it's a rep. At the moment, I've got 6 million reps, 6 million roots out in the world working for me while I'm asleep. They're all planting seeds. They're all talking to people about what I've learned and my message and my website and my products. So that's the first thing, is that you've got seeds out there in the world working for you. The second thing is, if you've got something of essence to say, it will bring in a residual income. So the residual income, once you've created a product once, again, it's not every product, not everybody sells anything, but if you've got a product that's truthful and got essence, then you've got a residual for, I don't know, I mean, all of my stuff has been selling for 20 years. It continues to sell. So it's, that's there. So like Benny Akidi said to me, he said, while I'm asleep, I'm planting seeds. While I'm asleep, I'm serving. While I'm asleep, I'm making money, because my products are out there working when I'm asleep. So it's trying to duplicate yourself through your products. Right. But still coming back to the fact that we need to know why we're doing the products, and we need to know that what we're saying on the products is important, and it's said in a professional way. It's no good us talking quality if we're going to put our stuff out with bad sound and cheap paper, and we haven't got a good backup service. If we're talking quality and we're talking about changing the world, which we should be, then we need to make sure that we're congruent with that. So as a residual payment, every product you make goes on to work for you in several ways. It plants seeds, it serves people. That's why me and Sharon put so much free stuff on the internet. We want to know that some kid might be, and this is all led by intuition, Scott, that some kid might wake up at 4 a.m, manically depressed, and see one of my videos and think there's hope, because there is hope. So that's my most important thing for me, is I've trained myself not to think about the money first. And ironically, the less I think about the money, the more I'm able to make money. If I think about the money first and foremost, I tend to put service and product to the back. I start trying to do things cheaper, and I start trying to think of everybody as a means of making money. And I don't want to do that. I don't want coattails, and I don't want to enter into a deliberately reciprocal situation. If I'm talking to you, I want to talk to you and come to you and train myself to say, how can I serve Scott? That's what I'm interested in. Everything else I need will come from wherever it comes. So I think that's what I've learned when I'm talking to people that come into the game. They say, what's the most important thing? I say to them that you're there to serve. When people write to you, I write back. When they ring you, ring back. If they need something, then you can deliver it, help them, serve them as much as you can. And within that, you build the infrastructure and the framework for your business.
I was going to say, Geoff, so that there's people might be thinking, products that it covers a huge range. And with yourself, with writing, when you started out, was that the first time you sort of put your first product out there? Was that with Write and Watch My Back? Or
Watch My Back was published by a company called Summersdale. I made a little bit of money from that, but not loads. I was really only interested in getting published and telling the story and saying to people, I'm a nightclub bouncer and I can have a fight, but I'm afraid. Excuse me, and this is what I do with my fear. That was the main thing. Then when I seen them working with the book and what they were doing, and I started to understand the publishing industry, I decided to buy the copyright back off Summersdale and publish it myself. And then I went on to sell 100,000 copies of that over a period of time. And I started to publish all my own books. I created my own publishing company, so it cuts out lots of middlemen. So something like the Fear book, I sold 150,000 copies of that to Men's Fitness. Right. They give it out as a free giveaway on the front of their magazine. So to me, there wasn't a massive amount of money in that, but I planted 150,000 seeds in a very right location. And even to this day, 10 years on, people are still coming back to me because of that little book that they picked up. So it might not have an effect immediately, but maybe 10 years later, they come on the course, or they look at your site, or they remember you and they follow your site. So we're just throwing bait and feed and inspiration into the water all the time, with no thought of whether it will come back, when it will come back, if it will come back. Only that we know that at some point someone's going to pick that up and it's going to inspire them. Yeah. And if it leads them back to me, that's good. If it leads them back to you or to somebody else, that's going to guide them. I don't really care. I only know that what I put out there will return. If I put it out there selflessly, it will return with a profit, whatever that is, whether that profit is, somebody gives me some advice or whether someone buys a product. I keep myself really open to that.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I know a lot of people stop themselves from doing anything. I talk to people because I'm a big fan of getting, especially with martial artists, with their what they teach out there on the internet. It's so cheap and easy to do, and it's not a huge process. But there's always that thing that sort of holds them back, that it's not a big, massive hit first time.
Yeah, and I mean, it doesn't have to be. I mean, Anthony Robbins' first seminar, Anthony Robbins had 6 people turn up. Yep. He's probably the most prolific self-help guru in the world today. So, if it attracts 5 people, that's sticking. That's good. And you'll find as you get more honest and you deliver more essence. I'm really only interested in delivering essence, because to deliver essence to you, again, I've got to receive and process essence. So one of the ways I get essence is by opening myself up to questions and putting myself out there to do this kind of thing, because it delivers stuff for me. So yeah, if it starts with 6, well, that's something to build on, isn't it? You can build on 6. Most people don't get much profile because they're afraid to tell the truth, and they're afraid of profile, because profile draws a polarity and it draws criticism, it draws an opinion. Most people are very sensitive about that, which I understand. But criticism and opinion is what helps us to polish our message or our product. Right. So if you get a little bit of criticism and it hurts, you think, okay, I'll look at that. And you think, next time I'll put it out. And they've maybe just located something that you're a bit loose on, that you can tighten up.
So sort of use it to your advantage, really, rather than...
Everything that happens is good, yeah. Everything's to the advantage, yeah.
So moving on kind of the process slightly, Geoff. So you've got an idea for something that you want to do, and where would you start? Where would you recommend someone to start? So they're thinking, right, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to get out there, whether it be martial arts or another field that they just have expertise in.
Yeah.
What would you recommend first steps?
I would say be certain, first of all, that you want to do it. If you're not certain and you feel a bit lost or you feel a bit confused, you'll just go around in that fishbowl forever. And that's quite a nice place to hide. And that's what people do. Confusion is normally just someone that's not certain enough. So I say be certain, be really certain that you want to do it. when you're certain you want to do it, then you look at, for instance, if I want to do a video, and I don't know anything about shooting a video, then I'll look at some other people who have done videos, and I'll say, well, how did they do it? What was their format? I remember when I first wanted to do some grappling videos, I looked at Mark McFan, and he's a friend of mine, and I thought, this is brilliant. This guy's brilliant. It's just really simple. It's just him and a Yuki and a guy with a camera, just one camera, and he said, this is the technique from this angle. He shifts his Yuki around. This is the technique from that angle. I learned more from Mark McFan's videos than I did from anybody else's, because there wasn't a high, I'm sure he won't mind me saying, it wasn't a high quality, you know, he didn't come in and say, I'm going to spend tens of thousands on this. He just said, I'm going to teach you techniques. You don't need all that. So I followed a very similar format. And when I looked at the Ippon books for judo, I thought, I love this. It isn't like one big tome, which is difficult to get through. It's like saying, here's a book just on Kouchigari. Here's a book just on Taitoshi. Here's a book just on Uchimata. So you think, I want to practice my ashiwazas, my sweeps, and you pick up a book that just does sweeps. So that's why I started to do the real series, real punching, real kicking, real grappling. So you could isolate it, you know. So it was, I just looked at what other people were doing, and I would use that, I would model that. I wouldn't copy it, but I'd model it and say, that's similar to what I want to do. And then I would just put it out there. The difference with, the difference should be, is that when you put your stuff out there, it's your fingerprint. When I put my stuff out there, I would say to people, here's me doing some judo takes. I'm not the best guy in the world at judo, but I do know how to adapt it for the street. That's my specialty. This is what I'm going to show you. This is why we're in this area. This is why and this is why the area is strong. This is where it's dangerous. It's got to be a last resort. So I bring my experience to that area. So I just really modelled other people. If I wanted to write a book, I'd just look at someone and think, oh, that's quite similar. Like with Watch My Back, I thought, I read a couple of books called, a couple of autobiographical books, and I read some books on a guy called, I can't remember his name. I think his name was Harry something. Anyway, he wrote a lot of books, anecdotal tales about being a policeman. And I love them. I love the honesty of it. So I thought I'll write my book in a similar way. So I just followed that kind of model. And then through following different people's models, I found my own voice.
Well, sorry, Geoff, I just want to interject there. This is something I've heard quite a few times now with people that we've interviewed.
Yeah.
And I think it's a shift in mindset as well, but something that we're familiar as martial artists with modelling. You know, you model your instructor, your sensei, whatever, your sifu. But some people kind of think that it's like stealing when it comes to business, when it really isn't. You know, like you say, modelling, it's getting that style.
Just an idea. Like we look at Mark McFan, I thought I really liked the way Mark's filmed that. I mean, my videos didn't end up like Mark's in the end, you know, because it's me. It's unique to Geoff Thompson. Yeah. And I would say, you know, if we go into grappling or groundwork, there are not many different ways of doing an armbar or a choke. You know, it's pretty similar across the thing. So everybody, in a sense, is copying everybody else. But you come in with your bent on it. Your angle, and my angle was this is how you would make this realistic for a street scenario. I always came from that angle, and also, you know, like I said, I can follow the format of a book. It's not difficult without copying it. I just say these are my stories, and I'd look and think, oh, we started with a prologue and an introduction. I can write that. Every book does. He's kind of opened up the first chapter talking about why he became a policeman. Well, that's interesting. People will want to know why I became a bouncer. So you can follow that idea, but it's going to be a completely different story. What we don't do is there's a difference between modelling and plagiarism. Yeah. Plagiarism is when we literally lift people's words and copy them. Yeah. But there's nothing really new. So we just bring what's old with our own specific, unique angle. And then again, as you start to go, you start to find, you know, I mean, in NLP they call it modelling. We model somebody till we find our own voice. So, you know, and that's what I did with playwriting. That's what I did screenwriting. I read a few screenplays and I thought, oh, I can see how the format is. I can do something similar, but you know, you have to find your voice, you have to find your unique sound, but you can be inspired by all those different people. And then, you know, once you've created one product, it inspires you to create, you know, as many products as you want. And then it's obviously, we know it's about marketing it, letting people know it's there. But before all that, it's about having the courage to put your work out there and say, this is my opinion.
Yeah.
And people don't tend to do that because they're afraid of criticism.
I have to say, I've dabbled with a few things and nowhere near as successful with things as yourself with regards to products, but I've put a few things out there, DVDs and a few training courses and things online. And obviously doing this show as well is one of those things. And I remember when I first did a recording and I put it out on the internet, and you sort of think to yourself, oh, there's always thousands of people are going to be looking, taking the mic and just, you know, laying into you. And then you realise, actually, there's not... For beginning, there's not going to be that many people there.
No, you know, you'd be lucky to get that because it means you've got a lot of people following you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And if you're going to tell the truth and you're going to be honest, you are going to cause controversy. But as long as you've got the truth, in a way, it doesn't really matter. And although it's uncomfortable, it does hone you, it does finesse you. And again, in the beginning, mostly, you know, mostly people are kind anyway. Mostly people like what you do. And if we don't like what they say, then that's for us to work on that. We have to work on being a bit thicker skinned, and being a bit more political about it. You know, in politics, they slag each other off all the time. They get very thick skins. Yeah. But for me, I always think, come from the truth. And what have I got to say? What am I going to teach? You know, what have I got to say that's new? Because obviously, there's a million people on the internet who are selling a technique, but what's the difference? What's our unique, I think they call it the unique selling point, but what's our unique signature? You can go on the internet and watch loads of people, but you'll only see one Geoff Thompson. Yeah. You'll only see one Scott because it's your fingerprint. But if you go on there and you be somebody else, you know, if you go on there and you deliver a technique verbatim and you don't actually really believe it, or it's not really congruent, or you're just repeating what you've been told, then you just become generic. You just become one of, you know, a million people doing exactly the same thing. But when you can come out with something unique and say, you know, here's my technique, here's what I'm doing, and this is why it's important, people will follow it because they know truth. They know the truth. You know, so it's that. You know, I look at myself and other martial artists, and I think, well, what's the difference? There's only so many ways to kick and punch, but the difference is application. I've applied it so many hundreds of times. I've got the proof. I can say, you know, this is empirical. This is the essence of thousands of experiences. Same as if I'm doing a talk. You know, I did a talk last week for 250 teachers. And I bring lots of my stuff, my BAFTA and my books and stuff, and I say, oh, these are some of the things I've made. So they listen to you because you've got the proof. You're not just saying, you know, about positivity and about living a good life and about service. You're showing the products you've made. You have no doubt about it because you've got the proof. So here's the proof. Feel it. I want you to hold it. I make people hold the BAFTA. Right. I let them hold my notepads from the factory where I was sweeping floors, where I wrote my first book. I let them hold the notepads. 1989, there's the notepads I wrote my first book in, and now it's gone all around the world. We're in 21 languages. That's the genesis of it. They hold it, and suddenly they expand because you're showing them the proof. And that's really important. So, you know, a lot of people are going to go on and do products and, you know, do different things. And what you've got to do is you've got to find what it is you want, what it is you really want to say. Even if you just say, you know what, I haven't done loads of real fighting. I'm really interested in the sport. I haven't really done a lot of real fighting, but I'm really just interested in showing you the art. You know, but they're still going to want to see the proof, whether the proof's in your technique or whether the proof's, you know. I mean, I had a guy that I knew, a friend I knew, that would tell people it's going to change their life, and then when they ordered the book, it was like a little pamphlet that he printed off. Okay, he's got 20 quid off them, but they never come back to him again because he hasn't delivered. And he said it's like money for old rope, but he didn't really hardly sell anything. If they get my product, you know, they're going to get much more than they expect because it's going to be so thick with truth so thick with essence, and it's gonna, you know, just the reading of the book is going to expand them, because we make a point of not putting anything out unless we have the proof, unless there's essence, unless I can say I'm living this. Look at my life, you can see I'm living this.
I think that once that mindset's straight, it sort of helps with the marketing on from that, doesn't it? Because I know I've had jobs before where I've had to sell things, you know, and it's just been a job, and I've just had to do it because you've got to make your living, and that's what the boss tells you to do.
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know, and you're not really that interested in the products that you're selling, say in the shop.
No.
I know you shift completely when it's something that you've done yourself and you're really proud of it.
And you're passionate about it, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then it's anti-selling.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you just have to turn up and you just say, because I love what I do. I love all my stuff. I stand by all the stuff I've done. And I'm continuing to, you know, I'm talking to really diverse groups of people, very, very diverse. Yeah. And, you know, the proof is the same to all of them. I'm saying, this is what I've got to say, and here's the proof. And I'm not perfect, and I'm still learning, but this is the proof so far.
And do you ever have like a game plan when you release a product, Geoff? Is there like a game plan that you plan it? I was speaking to, it was Nick Chapman, opened a Fight Science gym in Aldershot here, and he was a very interesting guy where he was really very focused on his business plan.
Yeah.
And we talked about that. Do you ever, when you've got a new product and say when you want to launch, do you have like a laser targeted focus on what you're doing with that, or do you let it happen more organically?
Well, if I'm doing films, that's all done for me.
Yeah.
And I you know, they'll bring in PR people. I'm bringing a book out in April, and I'm hiring a PR girl who's really brilliant, and I'll do a launch in London, and I'll do a launch online. And if I've got a product that you know that I really want to get out there, then I'll spend the money and I'll get it into the newspapers. I'll try and go national. I'll try and get television. I'll try and get local and national radio. Try and get an online presence. I just throw as many seeds out as I can. I go for the big nationals that will perhaps aim for the culture show, or will aim for you know, like the kind of getting on the couch on morning television. Radio is great because they always love they're always looking for something fresh. This new book has got something to say. It's something specific, so I'll go out and really push that. Yeah, so I'll have a game plan. When I did Watch My Back, we planned for about 6 months. We had a 32 city tour, 64 shops, radio and television. Radio, you know, every week. Television, lots of television as well. Lots of interviews with anyone that wants to interview me, and then obviously the online stuff. So I do have a game plan of basically just letting people know you're present. That's the key.
Thing I'm just learning about, Geoff, and I don't know if you could back that up, is kind of distribution channels really, in kind of I always found it quite hard to get things out there, and then realise that you need to work with people who have already got a good audience.
Yeah.
Whether that be a shop or a you know, like a person like yourself, who already has
like a profile,
a good profile. So is that something that you found has been beneficial?
Yeah, well, I think, you know, if I knew this when I did Watch the Back. I was working as a nightclub doorman when the book came out, so I was still working as a bouncer, but I was on, you know, talk shows with Hollywood superstars, because I knew that if I wanted a lot of people to see the book, I'd needed to be in front of a lot of people. And what's the best way to be in front of a lot of people? Television and radio is still the best way. Online is okay, but you're massively competing with everybody. It's a huge competition. But if you can get on, like I was on Sky News Live, so I was talking to 6 million people straight away. Yeah. And I started looking at the magazines, and I'm looking at areas where I can plant seeds in fertile ground. So I've got a mail message at the time. It was about, you know, fear and all that kind of stuff. So I started writing for Men's Fitness and GQ and Front and Loaded and FHM. So that straight away you're talking to, you know, a demographic, the right demographic, and you may be talking to each one of them. Perhaps publishes a couple of 100,000 copies a month. So I used to have you know, like a column with these, and then I thought I want to hit a broader audience. So I wrote for the Times. So you just think, who do I want to speak to? Where do I want to go? When I won the BAFTA, of course, I'm able to speak to a completely different group again. If I win an Oscar, what's an Oscar? An Oscar is a key. An Oscar is a key that allows me to talk to 2 billion people in one go. So you just start looking and thinking, people say online and all that kind of stuff, but, there's so many people online. It's a bit of a quagmire. But if you go on television, it's that, you are still one of a very rare few that's actually on the television, whittled down from all of the different people. You're on the television talking to millions of people at once. So I think that's really good. If you can get onto people's sites who have got a following and they like your stuff and they help you promote it, I think that really helps as well. But it's just looking at the obvious places. How can I talk to the most people in one go? Television, you still can't beat it. So when we go for the Caretaker book, she'll be aiming for television, she'll be aiming for news shows. Excuse me. She'll be aiming for a lot of radio, and it just puts you in front of a lot of people, but it also broadens your audience. I've done so much radio, I've lost count of it. I've travelled all over the country doing radio. Right. Talk radio, Radio 1, Radio 4, Radio 2, as well as some great regional stations as well. And you feel sometimes as though it's not being heard, but it is being heard. Mm-hmm. Every time you put something out, it's going to land with someone that it's going to serve. That's it. That's all I'm interested in. I don't need to think about anything else, because if it serves you, it's going to return to me. That's the nature of the reciprocal universe. So my initiating thing comes back to that thing about service. But obviously, just looking at the things, everybody's trying to market online now, but it's like a bit like it's falling into a void. I think it's still trying to aim for the mainstream media if you can.
Yeah,
and build a following.
Yeah, it's still very noisy online. That's a good word I've heard before, and it's
very noisy, and it's and often it doesn't translate. You can do stuff sometimes, and you can get lots of hits, but it doesn't translate to revenue, and revenue is what you need to build infrastructure. So a lot of the times it's people is. I work with people who say, you've had 6 million page hits, but it means nothing. It means nothing if it doesn't convert somewhere.
Yeah.
There's lots of numbers that sound impressive, but ultimately you want to be able to, if I sell 150,000 copies of my Fear book to Men's Fitness, I know something's landed.
Yeah.
I know they're taking it seriously. They've spent a lot of money to buy them off me, so they're gonna plant those seeds really firmly and really well. Whereas someone could say to me, look, this has had so many hits here. It doesn't necessarily mean a massive amount, because of the way numbers are moved and manoeuvred. So I just think if you've got a specific following of people that want to look at your stuff, that want to hear your stuff, that are interested in your message, I think that means a lot. Because then you've got people, if I've got 10,000 people on my mail list who said, we would like to be on your mail list because we like what you do, then every time I've got an event or every time I've got something to sell, I can talk to those people. But if I've got somebody that I want to promote and I say, this guy's really good, I can say, have a look at this guy because this guy's really good. So suddenly you're talking to 10,000 interested people is better than 6 million page hits that you're not quite sure what it means,
That's right. I mean, I've been talking to Dan Fagella, who is one of our guests on the show, and he's massively into the online scene, and his thing is online training. And he's done some bit of consulting for us on the show and to do with the site. And one of those biggest things is that creating a list and a group and a following, like you're talking about. And as you say, you've then got an instant sort of forum, really, if you are doing something. And getting feedback is very important as well.
Yeah, and then like I say, if people like the books and they want to come on a course, they might want to immerse themselves a bit deeper into the knowledge. So they come on a course. If they come on a course, they might want to come on a more intensive course. So they might want to immerse themselves more. Some people want to come at the level of a book or a free article, and some people who are very serious about their learning and their personal development might want to come and spend 6 months with you on a course. and invest that amount of time in their development. So we have options for people to come on and have stuff completely free, or right down to like buying a book or buying a film, or coming on a short course, or coming on a kind of lower ticket price course, right to the sovereignty course, which is a higher ticket price, but the results become more and more profound. Some people come on the sovereignty course and they save millions of pounds because of the knowledge they learn, or they create business that's worth millions of pounds. Has a profound effect because they immerse themselves into the deepest aspect of the learning. So we try to make it so that if it's just fleeting and you just need a bit of inspiration or a bit of a balm, you can come on our site all day long and it's all free. And if you want to invest more, then that option's there as well. It's just a matter of choice for people. So we try to give people a range of options from nothing to as high as they want to go, really.
I think it's like looking after your little family, isn't it? Eventually, I found with the newsletter list for Masterpreneur TV, there's things like you're saying, you can give something out for nothing, or if people want to go deeper, then obviously you've got your services and other stuff you offer. But I think it's great to have that. I mean, I'd never had that before until I started doing this show, to start actually building a list of subscribers. And it's a massively helpful thing, and you've sort of it's a bit like running a class. You've got your own group and your little family there. And
you can build that, and as you build it, obviously it forces you to go up a level. It forces you to learn more, forces you to hone your skills, get more and more professional. I went on London Real, did an interview with those. It's just hugely professional. Amazing. Both of them are amazing guys, but the whole setup was quite a simple setup, but hugely professional. And they get people in to help them promote the work and get the work out there. And they talk to quality people, but they bring quality.
Absolutely, it's a great show.
So, and they've got a massive following, So the potential's there, isn't it? I mean, I was talking to Rick Fay, who's a friend of mine, and he was telling me one of his students in Japan his dojo was so big it had escalators between floors. He got 5,000 students.
Gosh.
And that's because that's what he set out to do. He set out to get 5,000 students. He set out to create, a real kind of all-encompassing experience. So I just think it's what we intend to do. And if we intend to build a bigger audience, when I started working with Peter, for instance, Peter Constein, he really helped me to make my products more professional. I mean, I didn't really do any products till I met Peter. I just had one book, but he helped me to make them more professional. So everything we did, we tried to make Smith's quality. If we did the videos, we kept it very basic. I've got a gym at home and we worked in my own gym, but we always made sure we hired a proper cameraman, and we hired good sound, so that it was the quality. It wasn't tinny. It didn't seem like it was, wasn't done in someone's back garden.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I remember doing my first photographs for Terry O'Neill when I did an article for him. He says, "Can you send me some photographs?" And I sent him some photographs. He said, "There's washing in the background, Geoff. There's washing on the line." And I never even thought. So working with people like Terry made me think, right, I've got to do this properly. So I actually went and hired a studio. And you would be surprised at how cheap it was. To go into Snappy Snaps and have professional pictures to them. And then when they go out, every magazine wants to print them because they're brilliant.
And just add so much more to it, to value to it, doesn't it? Just for that little bit of extra effort, going that extra mile. So
you start spending money to get the right product. You have to buy quality. And that makes all the difference. And then you've got, So, I mean, at one stage when I was writing for the martial arts magazines, I was meeting with people, Lee Hasdall or Neil Adams, or interviewing them for the magazines, taking them to Snappy Snaps where they've got a little studio, having the photographs taken professionally. And they just, most of the time they wanted to use them on the front cover because they were such good quality.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it amazes me as well, people just on websites for their classes in schools and things where they sort of spend money on stock photos. And you think, well, go down the road and just hire out the thing. You get much.
Doesn't cost much.
Yeah.
If you to make gold, you need gold. So we need to be prepared to pay for, excuse me. We need to pay for quality photos.
Yeah.
We need to pay to get the books done nice. We need to pay to get the DVD covers done nice.
Yeah.
When I filmed my sovereignty courses, I brought Hollywood Steve Reynolds, to come and film everything. He came for 6 months, and filmed my masterclass and my 100-hour masterclass. And the masterclass, we just filmed the masterclass because I was really aware that lots of people would like to come on the course but didn't come on the course because for lots of reasons. Couldn't make it, maybe it was too dear, maybe they were a bit nervous. So I did a video, said this is the essence of the course, and they were £100, but we sold hundreds of them. Because the material was really strong. I also filmed it really professionally. And then while he was there, I got him to film some of the people that were enjoying the course, so we use that as an advert. But the point is, I paid Steve. He didn't charge me full rate because he's my friend, but I said, I want to pay you. I don't mind you doing looking after me because I'll look after him, but I insist on paying everybody. So I pay him, he comes down, and I don't know, for £1,500 or something, I get a set of videos that can just go on and on and on.
Yeah. I mean, I when I was launching a class back a couple of years ago, a friend of mine, Alan Platt, he does great photography. I thought I had to mention his name as well, let him know.
Yeah.
And he did some good stuff. I was just thinking he did that for gratis, just because he enjoys what we're doing and
yeah. But that's it. You can. I think it's good to, I'll let people do stuff for me free once because it's nice, because people want to do favours, but I don't. I make sure that I do stuff for them on a regular basis, or they do stuff for me. I make sure that I pay them. It's tempting to let people do it for free, but if you want to make money, you need to pay people. So and I'm not talking about the kind of thing we're doing here because this is very simple. This is just me spending an hour and helping you. You're setting up your business, and I'm planting seeds for myself. I'm talking about if I've got a course like a sovereignty course, I bring people in, experts, and I pay them. And I don't mind them, doing rates for the boys, but I insist on paying them. Yeah. One of my friends just wouldn't take the money. And I said, if you don't take the money, I can't bring you down. Because I said, every time you come down, I know you're taking a day off work. And I want to be able to ask you every time. And I can't ask you every time if you don't let me pay you. Everyone's being paid. So I insist, because I think Richard LaPlante said that to me once. You can do it. You can get away with it once or twice, but after a while, you have to make sure that when people are doing stuff for you, you look after them, even if you just pay them £100 or you take them for a meal or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So me and Sharon made a point of that on the masterclass. We had 2 or 3 instructors that we paid. On the sovereignty course, I bring people in, everyone gets paid. And we try to really look after people. We try to make it so that next time they come down, I'm aware I'm giving them profile, but I'm also aware that they're working and I'm earning, so I want to make sure they're earning.
I think that's just something there I think some people miss as well. Just thinking about it while we're talking about is recording courses, seminars, that kind of thing, because I know lots of people do them but don't actually record them and still wonder how to put a product out there. So I was just thinking that's why not make it work for you 10 times? Record it, do it as do it as an audio if you're talking a lot, do it as a video, do it as a course, do it as an online course. It's because otherwise you go out and do a course and that's it. You've done it once. You've got to keep repeating it. But at least if you've done it, my 100-hour masterclass or my masterclass is there, and videos I did 20 years ago still sell. They're there. They're there. They're there forever if you want to sell them, and they continue to kind of go around the world planting seeds. So it makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah, absolutely. And also the sort of transference of different formats now, because those courses can go into, like you say, DVD, online video, be transcribed into books. There's so many options once you've got that raw material.
Well, people like Ramana Maharishi, people like Osho, they never wrote a book. Everything they did was just taken from, bits like someone transcribing this. It's all their books are taken from lectures that people have transcribed. And then they're able to put them out there and duplicate them hundreds of thousands of times, So if you're there, you might as well bring a camera and film it. It will force you to be on your best game because you're thinking, oh, I'm being filmed.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make sure I'm prepared.
Yeah.
And also, obviously we expand, don't we? Because then you have to learn how to make a video. You have to learn how to, make a video sleeve, how to access the supplier for the video, for the discs, and for the cases. I mean, we've got our own video machine. We produce our own videos and CDs. We paid a lot of money for a machine years ago that produces all our work, and we work with printers all over the country that do our covers and our sleeves. And it's we've just done a CD, an audio book, and it's we've got a source. This is what Sharon does. She'll source the CDs, she'll source the boxes. I'll source I'll get the cover designed. Perhaps get my son to design the cover, and then we'll source. And in this case, actually, we've got my friend Eddie designed the cover for me. Someone else did the photograph. So we kind of put it out to all these different people, and then a lot of people are involved in bringing that together. But you have to expand your intellectual self to learn how to do all those things. So suddenly I have all that information in my head: how to publish a book, how to access an editor, how to access a typesetter, how to access a cover designer, how to access a printer, how to access a distributor, how to access a salesman, how to access people to create book signing tours. These are skills that you learn because you've got a book to sell. You have to learn it, but mostly it's just about picking the phone up and saying, how much would it cost me to have this book printed? And they'll say, send me the details, the sizes, and I'll tell you. Or you ring up a shop and say, I'd like to do a book signing. Who do I talk to? And they say, talk to this person. So suddenly you only have to learn how to do it once, Scott. And then once I learned how to do a book signing tour, I can do a book signing tour every year for the rest of my life if I want to.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, there, like you just described, then it's suddenly become a business then, and you've grown, and then there's an infrastructure of you've got experts to help you on hand. You know how it works. It's just snowballed from that initial concept.
It's all built it for me. It's built itself up from 3 notepads in a factory toilet to a BAFTA multi-award winning films, 40 books, 40 DVDs, 21 languages, something like 6 million downloads of one of the films on Netflix, and it's all come from those initial notepads.
Fantastic.
And got the notepads and looking at them thinking, how do I make that into a book? Well, I better go and learn.
Yeah.
So you start talking to people, and then suddenly you're too big to sit in a factory because you understand much more.
Brilliant.
The seed of the universe is in us. It just needs to flower, like the seed of like the schematic for an oak is in the seed. The schematic for the universe is in us. The seed of it's in us. All we need to do is explore it, and the universe will unfold in front of us. That's what it does. We are the master key to it.
Brilliant. Well, Geoff, I know you've got to shoot off. I know we're a bit tight for time today.
Yeah, tough man stuff. Got to take the warm shopping.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's the essence of it. Know why you're doing it.
Yep.
Make sure you have a strong purpose, and make the quality as high as you can, and tell the truth when you go on. Be truthful about what you found. People want essence, and if you deliver essence, they'll come back.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Geoff. Thank you very much for taking the time out with us. Where can we find you? Is it geoffthompson.com?
geoffthompson.com, yeah.
Yep, fantastic. Get in touch with Geoff if you've got any questions, or give me a shout and let me know if you have any questions on this topic. But it's been great. Thank you very much, Geoff. Have a great day. Look after your mum.
Thanks, Bob. God bless.
I'll see you next time. Thank you.
See you later. Bye.